Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day. And above all else, are trying to be looking after yourselves and one another. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken and I are back. How's it going, Ken?
Going well. Glad to be back.
Glad that you're back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another installment of Band Spotlight. The band in question are Tears for Fears. The album in question, The Hurting, the band's debut release. Now, before we get into the album, just a bit of background on Tears for Fears. Prior to settling on the name Tears for Fears, Kurt Smith and Roland Orzabal were in a band called Graduate. And as you've seen from the graphic that I just put up, that was a picture taken circa 1981. Graduate didn't last very long due to Roland Orzabal's and Kurt Smith's dislike of being in the band and touring with the band. They realized that once they went on tour with the band, they're like, okay, this isn't for us. We're out of here. So, there is a bit of background with Kurt Smith and Roland Orzabal prior to Tears for Fears. Now, with regards to their debut release, The Hurting, it was released on March 7th, 1983, through Mercury Records in North America and in the UK. Uh, the album was produced by Chris Hughes, ex-drummer of Adam and the Ants, and Ross Cullum. There were three singles released from The Hurting, those singles being Mad World, Pale Shelter, and Change, the first single that I heard from the band. The album, upon release, uh, reached number 73 in the US, number 7 in Canada, and number 1 in the UK, achieving gold status in the US and platinum status in Canada. The album has an overall playing time of 41 minutes and 39 seconds. Now, this album has been described in terms of genre as new wave, dark wave, and gothic rock. We shall discuss this. Before we get into my opinion of this release, Ken, what is your opinion
My opinion of this album,
or your
uh,
history also?
yeah, well, let's go with the history.
Okay.
1983, when it was released, um, my freshman year in college, somewhere, it might have been MTV, it probably was. I heard the song Change. And were the singles released in that order that you mentioned?
No, Change, it was Change, Pale Shelter, and The Mad
Okay.
World
Okay, so the
in
first
North
single,
America.
yeah, okay, yeah. So I heard Change, and the keyboard sound, which was mimicking um, marimba,
Or
really
Vibraphone,
caught
yeah.
my attention.
Yeah.
And because at the time I was playing percussion in the college concert band, so and I love marimba anyway. So anyway, that caught my attention. And, back in the days, us old curmudgeons didn't have streaming services and whatnot. And I found the album and bought it based on that single song. Was a bit surprised when I dropped the needle on it and heard the title song, but it wasn't a bad surprise. It's like, okay, this is different because otherwise I wasn't really into much into electronic music. Um, Before that, I think the only other band electronically that I was into was Ultravox, and so I find a similar parallel between Ultravox and this album because it's very electronic, but it doesn't sacrifice melody. There's a lot of melodic elements, whether it's in the vocal line or in the various instrumental lines. And it's also very rhythmically diverse, which
Yeah.
I enjoyed as a percussionist at the time. But anyway, so that's what got me into uh, Tears for Fears. Um, I drove my roommate probably a bit crazy listening to it over and over again. But luckily, he was a good guy and didn't throw me out the third story window. But yeah, it's thematically, it's a very dark album.
Yeah.
Um, I can't really, or I couldn't at the time really relate to a lot of the themes on the album, but it didn't matter because it was the sonic landscape that was really appealing to me, and that's what I was really enjoying about it. The only
Mm.
odd thing that I really found was all of a sudden there's a saxophone,
Mel
on
Collins.
several tracks, and that didn't seem to fit the pattern, but it
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah. Courtesy of
Um,
Mel Collins from King Crimson fame.
yeah, and so not overdone. I mean, this wasn't saxophone that you'd hear in other bands like ABC at the time or whatever.
Yeah.
It still fit, and I think probably the rhythmic aspect that I mentioned might have had a lot to do with the producer because Adam and the Ants is a very very percussive band.
Yeah. And he was the
Um,
drummer. He was the drummer.
yeah, yeah, and so but anyway, it's I just really still enjoy this album. Sonically, it's just amazing. Um, I think the mixing of this is very good. It's got a good um, the way the songs are sequenced. I really do like.
Mm-hmm.
It ends on a particularly strong note. One of the strongest album closings that I can think of off any given time. I've watched a lot of video of Tears for Fears, and I've never really noticed Kurt Smith as a bass player to really do much, but to listen to him on this album, because I didn't see credits for any other bass players in these sessions. The bass playing is really quite good on several songs, really very very quite good, and it doesn't fit in with the minimalist aspect that a lot of electronic bands were doing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So very melodic bass lines that kind of work as a counterpoint to what's going on otherwise. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm rambling, but
No,
yeah,
no,
that's
no. You're
just it.
fine.
I heard the one song, grabbed the album, loved it, and ever since then, uh, when Songs from the Big Chair came out, I was there on first sale day, nabbed a copy of it, and the rest is history.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How about you?
First of all, a lot of people may not know that Tears for Fears started out as a four-piece. So on the album, you have Roland Orzabal on vocals, guitars, keyboards, and rhythm programming. Kurt Smith on vocals, bass, and keyboards. Joining the band at this point, you had Ian Stanley on keyboards, keyboard programming, computer programming, and Manny Elias on drums and rhythm programming. Both Manny Elias and Ian Stanley would remain with the band until 1986 and 87 before they would leave for other projects. But basically, from 1985 on, basically from 83, but more prominently in 85, from 85 forward, Roland Orzabal and Chris Smith were known as the face of Tears for Fears. You know, uh, this album for me, the first single I heard was the lead off single Change. And at the time, I really didn't think much of it. I was
Okay.
12, not even, I wasn't 13 yet. Yes, I was that young. And I was drawn more to Pale Shelter and Mad World in terms of the, sonic structure of the music. And in listening to this album over the years and for this episode, it's obvious that uh, Polygram, Phonogram, Mercury picked the songs that were going to be viewed as good pop oriented,
Mhm,
hooky singles.
mhm.
Um, and the rest of the album is, I don't know if I'd call it dark wave, but it is more what I would call avant pop in terms of, the odd time signatures on the hurting, the percussive elements on songs, on songs like Ideas as Opiates and, s- I was gonna I was gonna say Suffer the Children, but that's not a good way to put it. Um, The Prisoner is one of those avant pop songs. Uh, this album did make a splash. It did make a statement. Uh, I could see that these two were not of the new romantic genre, like the Duran Duran and the Spandau Ballet, era of music. They had a statement to make, and they did make it with this album. Obviously, with songs from the Big Chair, they went more in a pop direction, more song structure in terms of verse, chorus, verse, bridge, fade out, or dead stop, or repeat of chorus on the fade out. But with this album, they were basically, to me, they were doing an album for themselves, and if
Well, they were
people,
exercising their demons.
oh, damn right they were. I mean, you have songs like, The Talent Track, The Hurting, Ideas as Opiates,
Yeah,
Opiate Scale, Suffer the Children, Watch Me Bleed, like, okay, The Prisoner,
yeah,
Memories Fade. A lot of these songs are emotional. They're about desertion and feeling rejected and being the outsider.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
how, I don't know. I mean, how did you feel overall when you listened to this album? Did you want to grab a dull knife and and just I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, this album is early teen angst, but um it's not upbeat pop teen angst. This is ugh. Um like
Ah,
I said, I was more caught up in the sonic aspects of it. I picked up on some of the themes at the time, but I didn't. I don't know. It's just like, well, okay, this makes sense. I was 23 at the time, so it's like, okay, yeah, I can kind of look at that, and the stress. Although um, I couldn't relate to the depth of the trauma. I never went for Arthur Yanov's theories and books of Primal Scream and all of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um,
Because that is what the band's name is based on.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
therapy of primal scream therapy. So
yeah.
yeah, I get that.
The themes of victimhood and stuff like that is, I mean, I had my displeasures growing up like everybody did,
Yeah,
but it was what it was. Also, at the time, I was in a place where I felt I had to prove myself in college because it wasn't the first college I went to. I got
yeah,
kicked out of Florida State previous to that. I had something to prove, to myself and to I felt everyone around me
yeah,
that I wasn't a loser, that I can not only succeed at this, but I can excel or whatever.
yeah.
So um, I was dealing with stress and pressure. I could relate to those songs on this album, but I
Yeah,
was relating to the stress and pressure by just driving, you know, 200 miles straight into the middle of it.
yeah,
Just taking it on, head on. So, but anyway, like I said, but
no,
it was
that's
the
fine.
sounds, and still, um, I think it's interesting to see Orzabal's songwriting at this point, as far as lyrics, where he began then and where he is now
Yeah,
throughout the various Tears for Fears album. It's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Because when this came out and it made such a big splash and it was a major hit for the band,
Yeah.
I kind of got the feeling like they were thinking like, why do people like us so much?
Hmm.
Like we're bearing our souls in this music
Yeah.
and people still want us. They clamor for us. What is going on here?
Yeah.
And I also remembered a few years later when they were talking about having to come up songs for the sophomore release, and they were basically dry, like in terms of
Yeah.
their inspiration.
Yeah.
And they wrote the song. There's a non-album single that's available on um, the 2013 I think it's a 4 CD box set called "The Way You Are," and they gave it to the record company. Here, take this, and they said, "Oh, we love it," but they're like, "But that's not even our best song.
Yeah.
We just gave it to you to shut the hell up and leave us alone for a
Yeah.
bit."
They did that on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, which inspired the song "The Working Hour."
Mhm.
The result of "The Way You Are," the record company's response to "The Way You Are," resulted in them writing "The Working Hour," which in the lyrics in the chorus it says, "This is the working hour. We are paid by those who learn by our mistakes." So that's in the chorus. So it's like, we're telling you we're not ready. So here, take this. And you want more. It's like, what more do you effing want from us? It's like,
Yeah.
that's the kind of feeling I got from them. And to me, I've always described Tears for Fears as thinking man's pop. And I will stand by that statement, by that definition. Because to me, they were always just a step ahead of what was happening at the
Yeah.
time, musically, thematically, arrangement wise, sonic wise. They were always a step of what was going on
Hmm.
musically. And, and they were kind of, I don't know if you've ever watched interviews with them, but they were almost somewhat, I guess the phrase is standoffish. It was like, they were sitting there doing an interview for whatever medium,
Yeah.
whatever outlet, and they're like, they had the look on their faces like, what do you really want from us? Like, oh, don't look at me. Don't come near me. Stay
Yeah.
there. You stay there, I'll stay here, kind of thing. Um, I think I think this
Mm.
album is a good album. It's an interesting choice for a first album in terms of the musical landscape that they're working with, uh, the textures that they're working with, the sounds, the I mean, this is with I think the exception of the track Change, which to me sounds like it has live drums to it. This
Yes.
is a this is a synthesized album. This is
Mhm.
computerized drums. This is Lin drum programming. This is textures and moods and draperies of sound effects that like the prisoner that you cannot escape. So the only way to do these songs live were to be like to bring sequencers and programming equipment with them. Otherwise, they couldn't have done it. It's good, but quite honestly, I have to be in a certain mindset.
Yeah.
The drapes have to be drawn. The room has to be in total blackness with a
Put on
black
all your
light,
black clothes. Yeah.
with a black light in the lamp, light bulb in the lamp
Yeah.
turn, and just like, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. It's just a moment. It's just, you know what I mean? Not that I like the song. And ladies and gentlemen, a little side note. If you want to get the 2013 box set, the CDs two and three have unreleased B-sides, uh, unreleased tracks, sorry, and B-sides, and John Peel sessions
Yeah.
that the band did at the BBC. If you want to pay for it, it's going for over $400 right now on Discogs. Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Well,
But
I think they were surprised at the success of this album.
yeah,
Um, there were, let's face it, there are other dark wave bands um, at the time with all the dark lyrics, but the music reflected those dark lyrics. With this album, you've got um, atmospheric synth-pop that contrasts with the dark lyrics.
hmm
And like I said, that's kind of what what I picked up on. And
yeah,
the keyboard programming on this album is really great.
top notch.
This is electronic, but it's not minimalist electronic like a lot of other bands.
No,
It's still, like I say, again, in if our audience is tired of hearing me use the term melodic too much, get over it because it's true.
no, it's true.
For
I
me,
mean,
melody is there's a lot that makes music good, but for me, the melody, is got to be up there in the top two at least of what makes a song good.
well, I
And they've
mean,
got this.
they do. Okay, if we look at the two, if you look at the track two and three on side one,
Hmm.
you've got Mad World, okay, rhythmic percussive elements on the intro,
Yeah,
uh, pop perfection
yeah.
or confection.
Hmm.
However, the lyrics, I find it kind of funny. Yes, I find it kind of sad. The dreams of which are
So
dying are the best I had, or the
ever
best I've
had.
ever had.
Yeah,
You know, when people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. It's like, uh, hello? I mean, like,
yeah.
this isn't your typical, this isn't Wham with Wake Me Up Before You Go Go.
True.
This
That's right.
isn't Wham with Freedom. This isn't Wham with Everything She Wants or Club Tropicana. You know what I mean? This is the complete. This is Susie and the Banshees territory. In
Yeah,
terms of and the Cure. So I mean, you know,
that's right.
but they did it with such a magnificent and masterstroke of pop sensibility that you're sitting there like, no, I don't need to put that. I don't need to go for the knife just yet. Hold on a second. Let me
Yeah,
listen to the whole album and then I'll think about it. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
and even with the song Suffer the Children, which features Roland Orzabal's wife Caroline on backup vocals, you have, in my notes, I have your, catchy hook on the chorus, heavy synth bass that's being used, and live guitar, like sharp guitar chords that come in
yeah,
that sort of hold it together. It's got, I mean, it's a dark album. I'm not gonna deny it, but I think that there's a good mix between the darkness and the pop sensibility that make it work. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I will say I do need to sit with it some more, preferably in a lit more in a lit room with the curtains open. But it is good. It is good. I have not spent as much time with this album as I have the other albums in the catalog, but it is a really good album.
Yeah.
It is a really good album. Is there any song to you that stands out on this
Ooh,
eclectic list
I
of?
I still I still have a great love for change, but the one song that I continue to have great respect and love for is the closing song, Start of the Breakdown. It starts off with that with the keyboard, and it's perfect production where it's just a keyboard line. Rhythmically, it's not repetitive, and it pans back and forth between the left and right, which makes the best headphone
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
Um,
I call it a wash of synth textures.
there you go. And it's got a fantastic bass line. It might even be, I think it's even the longest track on the album. Yeah,
5 minutes
uh,
even.
at
Yeah.
5 minutes. Um, it's, uh, I mean, just sonically, there's just so much going on. Like we've talked about Orzabal's songwriting before, he doesn't just stick to verse, chorus, bridge, final chorus.
No.
These several of these songs are multi-sectioned, um, and in this song is a perfect example of where I think this was song was particularly pointing in the direction of where they would be going in songs for the big chair and beyond. Um, it it starts off very simple and continues to grow
Yeah.
in sound, in layers. Uh, sure, I mean, and this is I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this song started the breakdown is referencing Orzabal was referencing his father's nervous breakdown
Yeah. Yeah.
at the time and other physical issues. And so it is of course, all the songs are personal,
Yeah. I
but
mean,
this one really kind of is even more.
it's been well
Because
documented. Sorry, it's been well
yeah,
documented that Roland Orzabal has stated himself that he did not come from the most happiest of homes
right,
in terms of his upbringing.
yeah,
So yeah, it was bound to find his emotional turmoil and upheavals were bound to find their way into the music that was to be that he would create.
yeah,
And to be honest with you, with the exception of maybe a couple of albums, he really hasn't left that arena of emotion in terms of his. I like that phrase, arena of emotion. Arena of emotion in terms of his musical output. I
sure,
mean, if you think about it, I mean, but yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Starting the breakdown would you could see where the band were going musically,
hmm hmm
right? Um, yeah, I let me put it this way, and then you can continue. For those of you out there who have not yet listened to The Hurting and think that change, if you've only heard change, is indicative of what the album is like, you're wrong. Because it's not. It goes all over the place.
yeah,
Emotion, in terms of emotion, in terms of depth. Um, but I will finish on this for me. The messages on this album for the message of this album. Sorry, I've got two dogs going ballistic outside the door, so you'll forgive me, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, and I'm home alone, so um, what the message of this album for me is saying, yes, we as individuals don't always come from happy beginnings, don't always have happy lives. There is turmoil that we deal with from a very young age, but that's okay. It's okay to get it out. It's okay to talk about our emotions as young as, say, 11, 10, 11 years old, or 13, 14 years old, because we as human beings are complex. Things do affect us.
Yeah.
We don't all grow up watching Sesame Street as kids, or the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Life isn't a Yogi Bear cartoon. Life is real. And these songs state that,
Mhm.
you know? Um, but again, that's okay. That's
Well,
okay.
and there's a reason why when um, say for instance, when someone's heartbroken, what do they
Yeah.
listen to? They listen to heartbreak songs. There's enough um, there's enough trauma and pain in the lyrics of these songs that people can pick up on and relate to. Now, maybe not to the depth, that
Getting a
uh,
knife? A
yeah, yeah.
dull
But that's
knife, but
okay. They'll relate to it and they'll be relating to what they're feeling rather than what Orzabal is experiencing. So there is that relativity there, just like I said, I'm sure a lot of millennial and teen girls, that's why they listen to Taylor Swift, to mention your favorite artist, because they relate to that, the
I just got to
breakup.
chill up my
I
back. I'm
know.
just like, ooh, give me the
Hair
hurting any
standing
day.
up on my arm. Yeah, relating to, the pain and the heartbreak and the hurt and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
And, so they're expressing, Orzabal here is expressing the fact that growing up isn't easy. And even if you grew up in a, shall we say, healthy home environment,
yeah,
it's still not easy. Adolescence, is tough. If
yeah.
you don't get crap at home, you get crap from your classmates at school.
That's right.
And I would imagine it's much worse now than it was back when we were youngsters. And
It's pretty bad for me. Yeah,
yeah, and it was for me too. And but I came from a comparatively good home life.
yeah.
But I wouldn't go through high school again if you paid me.
Oh, I know.
So yeah, that's what I think people are picking up on. It's there's a resonance to the pain in these songs, and so what they're doing is um, they're focusing on the own pain in their life, and so therefore there is this connection. Um, I've never really read a lot about what Orzabal grew up with. I don't know why they went through the primal screen therapy and that everything was that bad.
Yeah,
But I certainly I didn't experience anything that bad. But like I say, I can pick up on other things though.
I got you.
I just don't take it to the depth that maybe they experienced it,
Yeah,
and that's okay.
and it should be noted too. And I forget the name of the book. You mentioned is the author's name that the primal screen
Yeah, Arthur
therapy was.
Janov. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't remember the name of the book.
Well, the author. It should be noted that Kurt Smith has gone on record as saying that he doesn't believe in everything that's in the book.
Right.
Like he doesn't subscribe to everything that
Yeah.
was written in the book. Certain aspects of it he understands,
Yeah.
but because he came from an affluent family with a good, um,
Right.
upper middle class, etc. So,
Right.
but there's within this album, there's a good mix of the what I call avant pop.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't call it gothic rock. Okay, this is
No.
not
Oh no.
Marilyn Manson,
No. 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 No.
type of rock.
No. No.
But I would call it a good mix of avant pop and top 40 pop. That there's enough here that you can listen to and get into and enjoy fully. You
Yeah.
know, obviously they would hit it out of the park with, songs from The Big Chair. But let me ask you this. Would an album like this survive today? That's a good question.
Um, Lyrically, it would. Um, Musically, mm, I think in a way, musically, it would. Production values and well, let's compare it to the Tipping Point, their latest album. And there's a fair amount of pain in this album too, with Orzabal, several songs dealing with Orzabal's grief over the long illness and the passing of his wife.
Yeah.
So, and the Tipping Point is, I think, for me, it seems to be the most electronic album since this one. I
Yeah.
think the albums in between, I think songs from the Big Chair would come right after those two. But with Sowing the Seeds of Love, they went into a more organic uh, instrumentation and production style.
Yeah.
And then the two albums without Kurt Smith were very guitar driven, although there is a good use of electronics and keyboards in that, but it's mostly um, guitar driven. Then you get into Everybody Loves a Happy Ending.
Oh my God.
We've talked about this on the channel.
Yeah.
It's very um, it's just a it's just almost something for everyone on that album.
Yeah.
But it's still not overly laden with electronics.
No. No.
With one
The
song, with one of the best songs, particularly, is basically the band and an orchestra. So
yeah.
I think it could. I think the production values would be, of course, more modernized, like the Tipping Point is. But there it is.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think they've come full circle with the
yes,
tipping point
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
in terms of the um or in terms of organic instrumentation versus computerized programming instrumentation. So
Yeah.
program. I think that they've come full circle from the herding back to the tipping point. I think they've come around, and yeah, and rightfully so. I think that I was listening to the tipping point yesterday just because I can, and I thought, yeah, this is good. This is good. I did listen to the 13 track version of the album. Thank you, Super Deluxe Edition.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Um, Only available on Super Deluxe Edition. Oh my God. But yeah, I think with the tipping point, with the hurting going through their entire catalog, I think that coming back to with the tipping point, they've come back full circle to where they began. I mean, not that it's all computerized and programmed, but there's a fair amount of programming.
Sure.
Back in the day when they used the Fairlight program, the Fairlight synthesizer and programmer, uh, which they don't use anymore. But yeah, I think it's a full circle moment with these albums. And yeah, I mean, my final thought on this album is they came out with something to say. They had something to say, whether you like to hear it or not. This is this is their truth, their version of reality. Whether you agree with it or not doesn't change the fact that it is so, you know. And they were unapologetic about it,
Yeah.
you know. So
I'd be curious. I have two curiosities. One,
do tell.
and I suppose I could dive, online and find out. But based on uh, the concepts on this album, as far as songs, what the record company thought, whether they thought just didn't really give it much, thoughts like, okay, this is electronic, this is, kind of this is what's going on in the industry right now, and that's what we want to, try to break into, or what? I don't know. My second interest is right
Yes.
about the time The Hurting came out, there was another electronic band came out with their debut album. The band was called Naked Eyes, led by Pete Byrne and Rob Fisher. Pete and Rob were in a band with Roland and Kurt from 79 to 81 called Neon, which you can find at least, I think, they're two singles on YouTube, and listen to it. So, very different. The two bands took very different paths.
Yeah.
However, both very electronic in instrumentation and also very melodic, but thematically very, very different.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, yeah. And Naked Eyes, again, always something there to remind me, and Promises,
Promises.
from the debut
Yeah.
album, and they didn't last very long. So
Hmm.
it's very interesting to see the different paths that these individuals took in terms of their bands and what happened. So yeah, in terms of your first question or your curiosity about the album, I think that Polygram and Mercury were thinking this is what is going on at the time. Synth pop, new romantic,
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it, new wave, and this is going to hit. But we need to focus on the singles that are going to make the radio.
Sure. Oh yeah.
And I I personally think they were blinded to the fact that the album did so well in in the UK and in Canada. They wanted product now,
Sure.
which is what came out with the way you are.
Sure.
And they were so blinded to it, they were like, "Oh, this is great, give us more." And they're like, "What? The hell do you want, blood? We can't do anymore right now. We're drained."
Yeah.
And until one afternoon, when Roland Rosenbaum sat in his living room with a then one drum machine and came up with a drum pattern for Shout.
Hmm.
That's how it all began, right? But I think with this album, it's a good introduction to the band, and I think you have the best of both worlds. I think you have, again, the new wave, uh, uh, avant pop with the melodic top 40 pop of Mad World and Pale Shelter and Change. You also have your Ideas as Opiates and Memories Fade, Suffer the Children, and started the breakdown. So I think you've got a good mix here with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
All right. So
just
go ahead.
throwing it out there, I do recommend the first two Naked Eyes albums too, but that's just me.
There's two albums?
There's two,
Two.
and there's actually been two more over the last 10 years, but I don't remember which one, but one of the two guys passed away, so I don't count those.
Okay. Well, Rob Fisher would go on to form Climby Fisher and release uh, an album in 1987 featuring the single Love Changes Everything,
Oh,
um,
okay.
which was a sizable hit for the band.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, and he's also been known for songwriting for other artists and stuff. But yeah, a little mini tangent there, a little mini
Go
rant.
ahead.
Anyway, all right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Band Spotlight featuring Tears for Fears and the album The Hurting, the debut release. Please put down in the comments below your opinion on this album. Is it a masterpiece? Did they know what they were doing?
Mhm.
Or did they miss the plot? Is it, avant pop? Is it top 40? Or is it both? Let us know your opinion on this album. As big as this album was, I sometimes get the feeling that this album gets overlooked somewhat in terms of what came after it. So, which is why we wanted to do a band spotlight on Tears for Fears. So, again, please put down in the comments below your opinion of this album, your history of this album, and and would you sequence it any differently? Just a thought, you know. And if you can afford the anniversary box set edition at $400 plus,
For it.
have, have at it. Too rich for my blood. Anyways, this has been a wonderful episode. Uh, we tend to talk and talk until we run out of things to talk about with a certain album, and then we're like, okay, what do we do now? But we enjoy doing these episodes. We have a lot to say. We have a, it's a I love doing episodes with Ken. It's a great give and take, and yeah, we are going to be continuing. And we're going to be coming up with more episodes on Band Spotlight with Tears for Fears.
Yeah.
We have yet to decide which album we're going to tackle next. I'll let Ken decide that off the top of your head. What do you think?
Okay. I think that's a good idea.
There we go. There we go. All right. So he does not. I thought he was going to give me the idea right now. The next
I know
album
you
to talk
did.
about. You no good. You left me out to dry, you son of a bitch. Okay, okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please again let us know your memories of this album for you and your history, good or bad. And yeah, we'll be back with more ideas, with more shows. We're
Yeah.
still going to be presenting you with uh, Outlaws and Heroes with Bill Schuster. That's coming up soon. We just have to nail down a date for Bill. And yeah, we're going to get more episodes to you as quickly as we possibly can. For Ken, Nina, and all of they're barking like crazy outside my door. I'm Armando signing off. Please look after yourselves and one another. Please follow us on X. We are now on X. And click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves in the loop of any new episodes we've got coming up. So for Ken, Nala, and Nina, I'm Armando signing off. And we'll see you soon again on the Music Den. Okay? Have a great day. Look after one another and yourselves. Bye for now.